Now, there's more fallout over Andrew Windsor. Now, there are reports that Princess Eugenie has cut off all ties with her father, and it's understood that Andrew will be leaving Royal Lodge before the end of January, not long.
Let's start with the blunt reality. Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor may not be heading quietly to a cottage on the Sandringham estate after all. According to multiple royal biographers, there is growing talk that he could end up thousands of miles away, on a Middle Eastern island that already hosts another fallen royal, Bahrain. Now, it's important to say this. We have heard rumours about Andrew moving to the Middle East before. This is not the first time his name has been linked to Bahrain, or the region more broadly. But what feels different now is the tone of the reporting. It is no longer framed as a vague possibility or a fallback option. Increasingly, it sounds less like if and more like when.
Give him a last chance to stay in that royal lodge where he's been paying this peppercorn rent, as we explained last year. Princess Eugenie, she's had no contact with Andrew. She's furious, apparently, about his lack of apology and the whole Epstein scandal.
That shift is palpable right now. According to royal biographer Andrew Lowney, Andrew is likely to go somewhere warm, somewhere quiet, and somewhere away from press scrutiny. Lowney has been clear that if this does happen, we should not expect a full or transparent explanation. As he put it, we are unlikely to be told the whole story. And that tracks, because Andrew's biggest problem right now is visibility. Since being forced to give up Royal Lodge, the 30-room Windsor property he has occupied for more than 2 decades, his options have narrowed fast. The King has reportedly made it clear that the arrangement could not continue, particularly given the cost of upkeep, security, and the constant attention surrounding the property. The official line is that Andrew will relocate to a smaller residence on the Sandringham estate.
It's unclear whether Andrew and Eugenie spoke during the christening, but you might recall that Andrew and Prince William didn't speak at the Princess, at the Duchess of Kent's funeral. They felt very, very uncomfortable there.
Marsh Farm has been widely cited as the most likely destination. It is rural, discreet, and significantly more modest by royal standards. But here's where reality appears to be setting in. This week, Andrew was reportedly seen visiting the Sandringham property for the first time. By all accounts, that visit would have been a harsh dose of reality. Gone are the grand rooms, the prestige, and the sense of permanence he enjoyed at Royal Lodge. What remains is isolation, downsizing, and a very visible reminder of how far his status has fallen. There have also been reports of pest control issues at the property.
Massive family drama. It certainly exploded this week. The Beckham drama, of course, Brooklyn Beckham issuing a blistering statement accusing his parents of being controlling, saying that their behaviour has been controlling and it's caused problems.
Now, that may sound trivial on the surface, but in this context, it matters. For someone like Andrew, who has spent his entire life insulated from inconvenience, the idea of moving into a property that requires remediation, upkeep, and, frankly, a bit of discomfort could be deeply unappealing. It is yet another signal that this is not a comfortable long-term solution. Several royal observers have openly questioned whether Andrew could ever truly settle there. Robert Jobson has said he simply cannot see Andrew living out his days on an isolated farm, largely cut off, with no public role and very limited recognition.
Mistakes. Children are allowed to make mistakes. That's how they learn. So that's what I try to teach my kids. But you have to sometimes let them make those mistakes as well.
Which brings us back to Bahrain. Andrew is not new to the Middle East. During his time as a trade envoy, he built relationships there, particularly in Bahrain, where he was treated with respect and deference. Not as a disgraced figure, but as the second son of Queen Elizabeth. Jobson has also pointed out an interesting piece of timing. King Charles recently met with the King of Bahrain. No one is suggesting Andrew was formally discussed, but in royal circles, these overlaps are rarely ignored. As Jobson put it, one never knows, but Bahrain is a place where Andrew could still receive recognition rather than quiet embarrassment. There is also clear precedent. Juan Carlos I has lived in the Middle East since 2020, after financial scandals made his position in Europe untenable.
Andrew, what do you make of David's words there?
What do I make of it? The Beckham's battle. Beck's lies and videotapes, as the Sun screams today. It's basically, and what happened? This explosive Instagram rant.
He settles in Abu Dhabi, away from courts and cameras, but close to loyal contacts and substantial resources. Andrew would not be blazing a new trail. He would be following one that has already been tested. And then there is the money. Andrew's finances have been under strain for years. He no longer receives the same level of royal funding. Security remains a point of contention. Legal costs from past settlements have taken their toll. And his lifestyle expectations have never truly adjusted to his reduced circumstances. Sarah Ferguson remains closely tied to him, both personally and financially. Despite their divorce, and recent reports indicated a new feud, they continue to live intertwined lives. Loney has raised pointed questions about how the two are funding their future. Last year, Ferguson sold a multi-million-dollar townhouse in Belgravia. Estimates place the sale around $4 million. Loney has openly questioned where that money has gone. Has it been passed on to Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, or has it effectively been used to support Andrew and Sarah's ongoing expenses?
Brooklyn, who's married to model and heiress Nicola Peltz, 31, got married in April 2022. He claims, as you say, my parents have been trying endlessly to ruin my relationship since before my wedding, and it hasn't stopped. He claims that Victoria cancelled making Nicola's dress and hijacked.
Ferguson herself remains a complicated factor. She lost the formal use of her title when Andrew was stripped of his remaining honours. Yet her public identity has long been built around it. Her association with Jeffrey Epstein, including financial assistance and visits to New York, continues to cast a long shadow. Any future arrangement for Andrew has to account for her presence, her finances, and her needs as well. Bahrain offers something Sandringham does not: privacy without isolation, comfort without constant reminders of disgrace, and an environment where Andrew would not be the only royal living in quiet exile. Loney has also made another striking claim. He believes Andrew has been given private assurances that when Prince William eventually becomes king, Andrew will not be publicly dismantled all over again. William is widely reported to loathe his uncle. Multiple royal reporters have said it openly. But Loney suggests there may be quiet guarantees behind the scenes, promises that Andrew will be allowed to fade away rather than be repeatedly dragged back into the spotlight. Relocating overseas would make that far easier. According to Loney, Andrew dislikes the idea of remaining on the Sandringham estate. He wants distance. He wants somewhere that does not constantly remind him of what he has lost. Bahrain fits that need. Warm climate, established connections, familiar territory, less intrusive press, and a fragile sense of dignity restored. Nothing has been officially confirmed. People magazine has reached out to Andrew's representatives and there has been no response. The palace, as expected, remains silent. But when multiple biographers independently arrive at the same conclusion, it is usually worth paying attention. So the question now is not whether Andrew will leave Royal Lodge. That decision has already been made for him. The real question is how far he is willing to go to escape the consequences of the life he built. Loney thinks he will stay until at least February 1st, before making his next move to the Middle East. Is Sandringham merely a brief stop? One last uncomfortable reality check before something more permanent overseas? Or is Bahrain already quietly preparing to welcome another royal who no longer fits anywhere else? Let me know what you think, and if you want to stay up to date on the latest royal developments, make sure you're subscribed.